all of my undergrad and master's career, I knew if I didn't stand out more than a citizen did, I would get nowhere. Because I had to set myself apart somehow, that I'd be worth extra paperwork, I'd be worth extra cost down the line. So I really wanted to sell myself as like someone who'd be worth it. My name's Dino Ablan. I am 29 years old and I came to the United States around April 30, 2008. I'm actually from the Philippines and I'm currently pursuing GE in chemistry here at U of L. My parents were seeking better employment opportunities, and I guess the US has a lot of those. Around 2007, they decided to move, and I came a year after them. My mom came here on a working visa, so that would be an H-1B. And every one of us, including my dad and all us kids, we had a H-4 visa.
Well, an H-4 visa is a dependent of an H-1B visa. So meaning that an H-1B would apply for work, basically a work permit, and then an H-4 is a dependent of that H-1B. So an H-4 can technically work. There's some regulations there that are way complicated, but generally they can study or work, but they're dependent of that H-1B visa.
I couldn't work as a H-4 dependent visa. Thankfully, my parents had nice jobs. In particular, my mom was a pharmacist at Walmart. It was rough, but she managed to actually pay for most of our education. And she had to because we couldn't work. My parents were hopefully planning to get a green card, but we didn't expect that there was a backlog of green card applications. It took longer and longer and longer for the H-1B that my mom was on to be eventually work towards a green card. And eventually it did, but by the time she got her green card, I was already too old. When I turned 21, I was considered independent from my parents, so I had to find some other way to stay here. So that meant changing my F4 status to an F1 status.
What's called an F1 visa, which is purely a student visa, meaning that an international student from another country would come to the US and purely to earn a degree. That is an F1 visa.
So I went to UNCW, I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Chemistry, and then got my Master's at the same university, so a Master of Science in Chemistry also. And then I graduated around December 2014. I started looking for a job towards the end of my master's program. So I'd say earlier on in the year, I started asking my advisor for help because in the past, he's helped his students get jobs in industry. And there's a company in the area who would just recruit people from UNCW to work for them. And they're a pharmaceutical company. So I asked him for some inside connections, if you will. He managed to get me in touch with some people there, and we set up an interview. And I remember that the interview started off with them asking me if I was a citizen or not, which I had thought, based on my practice interviews, that people don't normally ask that sort of thing. And it's one of those faux pas. I thought it was a faux pas to ask someone, are you a citizen or not? You would be judged based on your merit alone, and then that was it. But in that interview and my other interview before I got my job in 2015, that was the very first question they asked was, are you a citizen? And the feeling I got from then was like, it was a bit demoralizing. I mean, I answered truthfully, like, no, I wasn't. I'm on an F1 visa and all that. Because it almost feels like based on your answer of like yes or no, it already sets the tone for like, okay, we're not going to have this guy or not.
The reason that companies would ask a question pertaining to immigration law, or in accordance with employment-based questions for non-immigrant students in the U.S., is to understand what type of function really they're trying to do within that place of employment. Meaning that in general, they'll ask a question that basically states, do we need to sponsor you for a type of visa in the U.S. once you apply? And the reason they're asking that is they're asking about what's called an H-1B visa. So basically they want to know, because that has to be completely sponsored by a place of employment.
Some companies do want to be fair, but I guess I feel like the government makes it hard for them sometimes to be fair. That's just easier to not deal with international students and just go for citizens or green card holders. But when Trump came into office and he started thinking around with H-1B, everything changed. Everyone was nervous because he's proposing to make one change and then he's backing off. I guess immigration lawyers back then were like, we don't really know what to tell you because in the past this would work, but now with the current administration we don't know what to do because things keep on changing.
Mr. Trump, your campaign website to this day argues that more visas for highly skilled workers would, quote, decimate American workers. However, at the CNBC debate, you spoke enthusiastically in favor of these visas. So which is it?
I'm changing. We need highly skilled people in this country, and if we can't do it, we'll get them in. But, and we do need, in Silicon Valley, we absolutely have to have. So we do need highly skilled. And one of the biggest problems we have is people go to the best colleges. They'll go to Harvard, they'll go to Stanford, they'll go to Wharton. As soon as they're finished, they get shoved out. They want to stay in this country. They want to stay here desperately. They're not able to stay here. For that purpose, we absolutely have to be able to keep the brain power in this country.
So you are abandoning the position on your website.
I'm changing it and I'm softening the position because we have to have talented people in this country.
And you're not releasing the discussion with the New York Times behind closed
That is
doors,
correct.
which will have some asking whether on your immigration policies you are really just playing to people's fantasies,
No, I'm not
which
playing.
is a tactic you praised in your book, The Art of the Deal.
I'm not playing to anybody's fantasies.
This administration has just taken a more aggressive stance. There are numerous changes in the immigration system. Just within the past year, there's been over 100 pages of immigration changes that affect specifically F1 and J1 students. Most of them are employment-based. However, we have seen visa denials go up. The current environment with the political system has been challenging. They're really going to task on non-immigrant students within the U.S., just non-immigrants, period, no matter what your visa category would be.
So what if you don't get your H1B?
What if I don't get my H-1B? What if I don't get my H-1B? I guess I'll just have to go back home. My immediate family is here, so I'll miss them terribly. And a good number of my friends, I've been in this country for like, 10 years? I miss them all terribly. I am worried about the political landscape back home. Because in the Philippines, extrajudicial killings is a problem for policemen. I guess in my opinion, dangerous and unstable precedent. So that would be things I'm worried about going back home.